Hi! Hey everybody, I hope this works. I hope you can hear me. I always get nervous when I do it on somebody else's account, so I'm gonna have the chat up. Let's see if it's working. Can you guys see me? How do I know if it's working? There we go. Hi. Emily Schromm here. I'm so excited to be doing this Facebook Live. I'm going to give a second to let everyone plug in. I am just in love with Nutritional Therapy Association, so it is my pleasure to be here talking about it. My journey as an NTP, kind of my journey as Emily, who I am, why I'm even talking, all the things. Hi, Sarah. Please, throughout the whole time, if you guys have questions, just shoot them on. Type away. I can see them all, and I will make sure that I address them all before we close out. I think really I'm just thrilled because with Nutritional Therapy Association, and I'll talk about how I found it and how I got into it, but we recently started collaborating with not only their foundational course that is awesome and a perfect way to kind of get your feet in the door when it comes to nutrition without having to go through the full program. But we also are partnering with the Body Awareness Project. So the Body Awareness Project we'll talk about with skin and skin health and why I care about it so much. I think you guys can all relate to this. Hi everybody. Hi Dee, hi Lorraine. You know, we make really good practitioners because we've gone through the shit. So we tend to be the ones that are a little bit broken, and we start searching out answers, and that's what makes us really good at what we do. So, you know, I think it's, you know, anytime someone's going through a healing journey or they're a practitioner and they need some healing help or they need some consultation themselves, I think that's a really good sign, because that's how I found nutritional therapy, and not just how I found it, but how I really felt like it took my practice to where it is today. So hi Katrina, hi Sarah. Oh, it's so good to see all you guys on here. So I guess I first just want to start out about who I am and my story and how I got into nutritional therapy. I am Emily Schromm, and I am in Denver, Colorado. I am opening a gym. I just got the permits, like the actual permit today, so I'm very excited because all of my business is it's all online. And so everything that I do for 7 years has been just an accidental journey of being able to build a platform to help people with training, strength training, and nutrition to help change their life. So I kept hitting the same wall with in-person clients and off-site clients, so my online clients through my 21-day program, with just things that I didn't know how to help with. And so selfishly, I just wanted to know, and I found Nutritional Therapy Program through Liz Wolfe, reading her book, Eat the Yolks. I was like, what is this program? And I just remember it's the book sitting on the shelf, and it said NTP. I was like, what's an NTP? That sounds cool. I remember Googling it and being like, this is it. Like, I just know this is it. And signed up the next day. And I was just so blown away because I thought I would learn about macros and nutrients, and I kind of already knew that piece of it. But what I didn't realize is how functional it became. So when I try to explain what I do, I just say, well, you lay on a table and I test you and I poke you. No, not really, I don't say poke. But you just try to figure out what that individual needs, which was a really hard concept for me because I was doing things in mass quantities. I was giving mass information and it wasn't bio-individual. And so understanding this piece that every single person is different was really important for me to find out sooner than later, because that's how you see success. So one person might do really well with high fat, and the person that doesn't do well with high fat, they're not broken, it's just who they are. So that was a really important first concept that Nutritional Therapy Association gave me. And then I just fell in love with it because I love, you know, I'm very much a detective. I love Nancy Drew. I love mystery. I am embarrassingly enough, I'm obsessed with Matlock still. Does anyone know that show? Oh God, I can't believe I just said that. But what is really cool about being a nutritional therapist is you don't just see their meal plan and see their priorities and see their program, but you're able to really see, okay, what are they responding to? And I do muscle testing with my functional evaluation, and it's my favorite part of my job. It's definitely the part that when I leave, I feel so satisfied and so fulfilled. And it's actually the part that I don't talk about in any of my online businesses. So it's something that's really fulfilling for me as a practitioner. Yay, Melissa loves Malak too. Awesome. So I think, when I look at NTA as a whole, I just feel like it opened my mind to what real gut health was, what adrenal health was. But ironically enough, as I'm going through this program, so I was in Salt Lake City, and if you don't know what the Nutritional Therapy Program is, you can be a practitioner or a consultant. They're both the same length of program, but the practitioner goes to 3 weekends at a set location. So I went to Salt Lake City because I didn't want to wait until it was in Denver. Met amazing people. I had such an incredible time there every single weekend, but there was one weekend in particular that was midterms, and it was during the CrossFit Games Open. So I don't compete in CrossFit anymore, but I was competing pretty rigorously. I also went to Patagonia, and I ended up getting some weird bacterial infection, and then I just was going through school. So it was my midterms, and I just remember it all kind of crashed on me in the middle of just practicing on somebody. I just had this total meltdown, like complete panic attack, like walked outside and just emotional. And I was like, what is this? I'm not an emotional human. Like, why am I so emotional? I just couldn't get it. And I just started realizing like I myself was going through the same things I was learning about, adrenal dysfunction. And at first I was really mad about that, because you always think like, I'm the one that should be giving the lessons. I'm the one that should be perfect. I'm the one that should be the example. I want to be like her. But just like I said when I started this, you can't be that, because you're not a good practitioner if you haven't gone through the shit. So I went through the shit, let me tell you. And it really blew my mind, because as a CrossFitter, as a strength training athlete, as somebody that just always pushed through and always just made it happen, my body said, nope, you can't do that anymore. So I really learned about the adrenals as I was going through the program, and luckily had really great mentors that were my teachers that were also, they became my practitioners. So I started working with my teacher and started working with Dr. Rachel, who's in Denver, and I just learned so much about the body, and I knew that it was something that I had to go through, but it really got me hooked. And specifically for adrenals and hips and glutes, and somebody that is a power athlete and a strength athlete, and really, the sign of an athlete is their glutes and if they're firing. And I just loved that connection of the adrenal glute connection, and was able to take that piece and create it and make it my own in my own practice. And that's the beautiful thing about nutritional therapy. And this is what my instructor told me that I was so appreciative of, is that you're going to learn a ton of information. You're going to kind of be overwhelmed, and you're going to it's all over, and you want to heal everybody. But what you do is you take the pieces that really resonate with you and you make it your own. You don't just replicate information, you just try to make it your own, and then you can help the people that are looking for that answer instead of trying to do it all. And so I have been so lucky with the way that my business has morphed. So it was 21-day challenges, which I still do. The 21-day EmFit challenge is my bread and butter, my gluten-free bread and my ghee, I should say, because I don't do that well with butter. And I just loved figuring out how to make it bio-individual. And what I found is that it's work. People aren't going to be ready to work. They want the answers. They want the quick fix, because it's easier that way. And so I refuse to take clients that think that way, because those aren't the clients I want. I want the clients that want to become body aware. And I try to make my programs a little bit more sexified. So I mean that by I want to make them sexy. I want to make them fun. I want to make them want to jump in. But really, my biggest success stories are the ones where they finish the program and all of a sudden all they care about is their gut health and their adrenal health. And so sometimes it's just really fun to get creative in the way that I do that. So the Body Awareness Project was a way for me to take that program to the next step. And I'm so grateful, because it has been, it's now a CEU for NTA, which is so awesome. So part 1 is all about the skin. And this is what I'm really passionate about, because this was my own body awareness moment. So hi, Kim. So with the Body Awareness Project, and I ask all my guests this, so I have over, for my first portion, 9 guests, and for the second portion on adrenals and stress, the nerdy stuff, I asked them all, what was your body awareness moment? And I want you guys to think of that. Like, what was the first time I realized that everything was connected and there wasn't just a quick fix? So I grew up thinking that fat was bad, and my mom dieted quite a bit, and she was always really good about getting me veggies and being good about protein. So I had a really good baseline, so I thought. And then when I started understanding my own body images, I don't talk about it a ton, but I mean, I've had eating disorders since I was 12 or 13. My thighs were always bigger. I hated the way I looked in swimsuits. I also grew up not in a culture that didn't, let's just say it wasn't pro women empowerment. So, you know, you kind of always try to hide yourself, and being too big and being too loud was looked down upon. And so I think that it really was my own body awareness moment when, even though I was changing my body with low fat, higher carb, low calorie, living meal to meal, I definitely got results from it. But I did not know what it was doing to my insides of my body, and it was manifesting through my skin. And my skin, actually, just so you know, I don't have perfect skin. I never will. And just because I have this skin program doesn't mean I will. It just means that I realized that, oh my God, everything that I've been told about my skin, being on birth control, living off Proactive, putting on masks, coating myself with makeup, was just perpetuating the cycle of I'm not addressing the root cause. I also had terrible gut issues. I remember even at 6 years old being like doubled over in pain, and my sisters, they thought I was just trying to get out of washing dishes all the time, but I never knew what was wrong, and it just was, Emily has a stomach ache. So I never knew, you know, until it was 22 when this all clicked for me, my body awareness moment. All I cared about was changing my body and looking a certain way and getting rid of acne. And so finally, someone said, I had just started CrossFit, someone said, well, there's this book by Rob Wolf called The Paleo Solution, and I've heard it helps clear skin. And I just was like, what did you just say? I don't even care about the body. I don't even care about whatever it is, I'll do it, because I had done everything and I was so sick. I mean, being on birth control for years and still having irregular periods and crazy up and down cycles and mood and PMS. I just was like desperate at this point. I had just done my first reality TV show, so that's like a whole different story, but it was an accident that I got on it, and I just was so grateful for the opportunity. But it still was really hard to watch yourself on TV when you don't like who you are. If you even like who you are, it's hard to watch yourself on TV. So it was just like, oh my God, all I could see was this frizzy hair and acne everywhere, and then I got comments about my bad skin, and it just I got so depressed. I was so depressed and so dark and so desperate for anything, and I just could not believe that I hadn't heard that food would change my skin. And so that's when I started understanding, you know, this is my first step before nutritional therapy. And I even talk about this in my original 21-day superhero challenges. When I first cut out bread, all of a sudden I realized, okay, one, my gut issues are better, my skin is clearing up, but I crave chocolate. Why do I crave chocolate? I never have craved chocolate, and all of a sudden I crave chocolate. So I started investigating. I got very Nancy Drew, and I started digging around what's in bread or what's fortified in bread or in grains that maybe that I'm missing. And so then it was magnesium and chromium. So even 7 years ago, I kept making these connections. Like, if I'm craving something, it's meaning something. And so I was fascinated by that connection, and thank you, Allie. I just couldn't, there's no turning back. There was no turning back. And I got in every mineral, vitamin, supplement, herb. I love it. I love figuring out what my body's missing, how I can help it. And so then when I went to nutritional therapy school, it really helped connect those dots for me. It helped me understand what intestinal permeability was. Even though I knew what leaky gut was, I now could see why I had certain food intolerances over a period of time. What's really interesting is I have had a lot of concussions. So this is a tangent, but I really think that my concussions at such a young age caused these food intolerances. So I'm really sensitive to a lot of things that I ate a lot of. I'm not kidding you, I love bread. like bread. My mom would bring me home Hawaiian King bread and French bread every single day. That was her love language for me. And I ate it. And so I know I'm the most responsive to the foods that I had the most. And then that tied into things like coffee. So if I don't have a healthy gut and I'm still eating these foods, even if it's a chicken breast and a sweet potato and coconut oil, Brussels sprouts, if I do not have a healthy gut, I'm going to start reacting to those foods. So for people that keep getting these food allergies and food breakouts and all these things that keep coming up, there's a bigger picture. You know, we can look at the food on our plate and we can do the right workouts, which, by the way, I'm obsessed with my newest program that I just launched called Ass and Abs. I know it's slightly inappropriate and a little vulgar, but seriously, it's just about your butt and your abs, and you guys are gonna love it. That's what I'm currently doing right now. And I realized, oh my God, it's so much more. This is my body awareness moment. It is so much more than we ever talk about. It's not just about macros, it's about adrenals, it's about gut health, it's about figuring out what is gonna make this work for my clients. Because if I tell them what to do versus I explain it, that's a totally different story. You know, I could say, here's your meal plan, have fun, or I could say, this is what protein does in your body. This is what it looks like to digest protein. This is what protein actually digests into. And all of a sudden, they're a different client than when they came to me for. And that's what I love so much about my work, is that it's about making somebody curious. If I can make you curious, if I can make you ask questions, all of a sudden this is so much more about your journey and it's sustainable than it is about me just being a trainer, than me just being your nutritionist. And so I'm just really grateful for the ability to be able to do that. And NTA was a really incredible tool to get to that level, to get to that point where I felt like I had the confidence to talk about those things. And that being said, just because you go through the program or are going through the program does not mean your research ends. There's never going to be an end to what you can learn, and you have to constantly ask questions and you have to constantly be body aware, because there's just so much out there. There's so many things that you can dig into. And so for me, it was taking it to the next step and learning about muscle testing with my clients here in Denver. It was also tying in herbalism with my tea company and understanding, you know, I don't want to just take a capsule and put it on somebody and see the response. What is in that capsule? And so one of the really cool things that was another body awareness moment for me was when I was learning about muscle testing, or when I was learning about gut health. I love healing the gut. I think people jump into taking probiotic rich foods too soon before the gut is healthy. And I just think that it's really interesting with gut health and the supplements I was using for gut health, whether it's bone broth or what I use is Repair Vite, which a ton of glutamine, marshmallow root, slippery elm. So I took slippery elm and I took marshmallow root and individually tested those, and marshmallow root actually got the strongest response for the person I was testing on. So then I started playing around with just marshmallow root, and that's how the tummy tonic tea that I created came to be. It was like, how can I get somebody to drink tea instead of just swallowing a supplement? Because as practitioners, we know that taste is so much more effective than swallowing something. So everything, I mean, it really has just branched off to one thing to the next. And so with the 21-day MFit challenge, that's a huge piece. That's kind of the baseline, the gluten-free bread and ghee, where you start the program version 1 or version 2 with high-level concepts, especially version 2. We get more into PCOS and insulin, but I really start everybody there. And then the Body Awareness Project, CEU of NTA, is the next step. And so they've partnered with me, and I'm just so grateful for it. We have 9 guests, over 10 hours of content, and it's really just about breaking down the connection of skin to hormones, to gut health, to nutritional deficiencies, and it also comes with a box. And so my vision with the Body Awareness Project, and part 2 I'm filming, I have 12 guests and half of them are NTPs, which is incredible, but it's going to be in just the most comprehensive program on adrenals for clients. I really want practitioners to dig into this because it's stuff that I just can't wait. I cannot wait to launch it. But with this part 1 with skin, I couldn't get over all the knowledge bombs that were coming up about why someone might still have skin issues even if their diet is perfect. So really grateful for it. And again, the tangible items just make it so much better. I mean, you guys all know how excited you get when you get something in the mailbox. I love getting things in the mail, even from Amazon. I ordered it 2 days ago and I'm excited. I'm like, ooh, presents, Christmas. So I wanted to create something where you can hold it, you can touch it, you can feel it. It's a box of supplements, books. I have this great oil that Lorraine, who's on this Facebook Live, she has this great oil company, and we made a clarity oil. So for spot treatments, I couldn't ask for more. And so if you guys are interested, please check out the link through NTA, thebodyawarenessproject.com, and they get a kickback as a thank you for partnering with me and believing in this project, because it is so comprehensive, and I'm just so grateful for it. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to answer some questions, and I have a couple more questions I know I want to get to. So Mallory, thank you. Have you looked into the connection with our menstrual cycle and food and movement? I would love anything that you have. I didn't have a menstrual cycle for a long time because I moved too much and I ate too little. So I am very fascinated by that connection as far as athletes go and our cycle. And the book that's actually in the Body Awareness Project Part 1 is with Dr. Lara Briden. So this is more of a tangent of PCOS, or more of a tangent of just getting off of birth control. If you've been on birth control, I just am obsessed with how connected it is to skin and hormonal acne and hormonal mood swings. But yeah, if you have a book I would love to read. I just know that that's something I personally struggled with, because having a cycle is the most important part of being a female, and knowing that you're healthy. It's just so necessary. And if that cycle is off, and so for me, when I went keto, I lost my period, and all these dudes, God, I hate when dudes talk about keto. Like, you're not a girl, so don't try to give me advice about keto. You don't have my hormones. I get kind of crazy about it. There's definitely some guys that maybe can address it, but I have yet to find that yet. I just think it was, I would ask, okay, well, why don't I have my period? Oh, your body fat's too low. My body fat hadn't changed. And so that was, for me, I know keto doesn't work for me. I know I need more carbs for my cycle. And to me, having a cycle is very important. And that's a big sign of health. And so that was my warning sign that keto wasn't right. Okay, so, sorry, I lost you guys. Lucas Martin, where did you learn or go to nutritional therapy school? So on the page that I'm on right now, through Nutritional Therapy Association. Okay, any thoughts on Viome? So I've done a couple stool tests through Dr. Rachel. Dr. Rachel's my referring practitioner that's in Denver, but she also does online. And I actually prefer to do it that way. I just don't have enough research on even pinner test and food allergy tests. There's so many variables. And so I just like to do it with kind of some guidance, because who knows what you're doing when you just send it in. I don't know how they test, so I can't speak to that, but I'm sure it's fantastic. I'm sure they have a lot of really great quality feedback that comes from it. Like, I love genetic testing, so I use Nutrition Genome. I did a podcast. My podcast is called Meathead Hippie. If you haven't listened to it, please jump in. We just got voted best podcast for Paleo Magazine, which is so awesome. But my podcast with Alex Swanson, if you're interested in nutrition testing, he dives into real food kind of answers to potential nutritional epigenetics, or your own epigenetics, how you can mitigate maybe what your mama and dada gave you. So if you're going to do a challenge, even if you have done some sort of nutrition guideline with some other person or some course, I highly suggest starting with version 1. You'll get a really good, clear idea of what I believe in and why I believe in it. And even nutritional therapy practitioners, we still have variants. That's the best part, is you can create your own belief system based on your clients, your work, your practice, and your body. And so I am obsessed with version 1 and then version 2, because it gives you a clear set guideline on macros and my beliefs, and intro to gut health, intro to adrenal health, and kind of the baseline foundation before version 2. So yes, I really do suggest starting with version 1. And just so you guys know, all things can be found on emilyschromm.com. So my full name.com. Super easy. It's all listed there. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to help with the business side of things, because I love helping new practitioners. So I'm working on a support group in Denver, but if you guys have ideas, I'd love ideas, because I really love creating businesses. I have 5, so I am trying to stop, but I would like to help somebody else create something instead, because I got to keep creating. Yay, Lindsay, finished version 1 and have stuck with it to version 2. And then the Body Awareness Project. You have changed my life. Thank you, Lindsay. But you have changed your own life. I'm just giving you some cool tools to do it. Favorite gut health book? You know, Emily, I am so disappointed in the gut health book world. I have yet to see one that I really like. That really, you know, that's a good question. Let me think about that. I think there was one that might work, but it's really what I've learned about gut health is from testing and being in front of somebody and working with them. So I have the Body Awareness Project Part 3 is actually going to be all about the gut after we do adrenals and cortisol, because a lot of times systemic stress, so gut stress, is actually the driving force behind adrenal stress, which is, you know, kind of, when you think about it, it makes sense. But when you break it down, it's like I'm burping all the time, or I'm bloated and I'm cramping, or my poop is irregular, but I'm fine. I'm cool. I got it covered. But we don't realize that systemic stress, that gut stress, can actually be a driving force for when you kind of go to that point where stress, and then a big event happens with your work, or you have to fund a new campaign, and all of a sudden it's like you topple over, and then it's just blah. So our body's really, really cool. It can handle a lot of stress, but when you put one stress on top of the other, it can fall apart. And so I'm excited about the gut health. I don't know about a book, but I am hoping to launch that in the fall. I'm going to launch part 2 in July. Stephen Livings, how do you eat healthy? Well, that's a very broad and great question. I would start with my version 1 EmFit challenge. And if you don't want to start there, eat real food. Don't buy anything that says it's going to create quick results. If you can't read the ingredients, be skeptical. And I just think we overcomplicate it. So every single meal, when I talk about building your plate in the programs that I run, make sure you have 4 to 5 ounces of protein. If you're a guy, maybe 6 to 7 ounces. Make sure you have 2 cups of vegetables, whether that's, 1 cup sweet potato, 1 cup broccoli, maybe it's 2 cups of greens, just veggies at every single meal. I still don't understand the concept behind this carnivore diet. I just can't get behind it. And then if you are working out more, then you can make sure you have the carb. That could be the sweet potato, or it could be the white rice. And then the fat is what you change, or you bring up or you bring down based on your hunger level. So a meal should fill you up for 4 hours. I don't like this eating every couple hours, because that means we're just on this roller coaster energy ride. So I teach people in my EmFit challenge how to build a plate and how to know if you are eating enough fat or if you need to add more. And so you can just kind of gauge by your hunger levels, how you're feeling, how you're sleeping, how your energy is. And that's when you kind of figure out how to customize macros for you. Did I love this program? Yes, I love this program. I hope you can tell that by my talk. I am taking clients in Denver. I only am taking 1 a week, and it's kind of hit or miss. So please just email support@emilyschromm.com if you are interested in my challenges or meeting in person. That's my best email, support@emilyschromm.com. Thank you, Sarah. I'm so glad you listened to my podcast. Augustina, your 21-day program has changed my relationship with food. Thank you. Oh, see, this is the shit I love. I love helping you guys so much. It's just I have the best job. Sorry. Okay, so I need to write that book. I know. I already have the title. I can't tell you what it is yet, but I do have the title of the book. So with business support in Denver, I think something that I would like to talk about, and then we'll get into more Q&A, is, should I ask about, do you guys want to hear about business, or you want to hear about common questions in my practice? What would be the best route to take? I think, oh, thanks, Jana. I'll answer that in just a second. I would say that my biggest thing with business and with somebody that's starting out a practice is to really find what you love to talk about. Okay, cool. So at Paleo Effects, I was on a business panel with Mark Sisson and JJ Virgin, which I was like, I can't believe I'm next to these two monsters in the paleo industry, but they are just incredible. And one of the biggest things was like, okay, but what do I do? Like, how do I get more people? And with nutritional therapy and consulting, so just keep in mind, like, I had already been a personal trainer and I had already worked one-on-one, so I already had a foot in the door with having to work with people one-on-one because I knew how to do it. So that's a scary thing to jump into that, and then also your own business. And so I kept doing one-on-ones and personal training, and then I started dabbling into practitioner work. But the thing is, and this is something that I think social media glamorizes, is that you don't just get a certification and become an expert. My practice did not develop until months and months of working with clients, until I really understood people's body. And I know that it's like, okay, I'm ready, I gotta start. And that's great. But I think the glamorification, maybe, if that's even a word, of I have an online business and I'm taking on clients. But if you don't really know how to be successful with client number one, how can we take on 10 clients? And my practice was really in person, figuring out that this person needed gallbladder support that was completely different than this person that needed gallbladder support. So then when I had online clients, when I can't test them in person, I was able to address the possibility of, okay, how do I know? How do I know what gallbladder support they need? Versus I know all the things about gallbladder support, this is what you should take. So I had to really understand one-on-one work and understanding every client you see and figuring out the path on your own. Like, oh, this person has gut health issues because she just doesn't have enough HCl. She doesn't have enough stomach acid. Okay, great, that's perfect. But this person has gut issues because she might have some candida overgrowth. And that's a whole different topic. And then we have to look at liver, and then we have to look at elimination. And I wouldn't have known that had I not seen it in person. And so I think just exposure, exposure, exposure. Every single person who will be willing to let you test on them, test on them. Your mom, your dad, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. I mean, I just tested, I couldn't stop palpating people. I palpated myself every single day, and I still do for certain areas. So you know, NTA, the way it works with a functional evaluation is that they focus on certain points in the body that signify something. So similar to my shoulder hurts, let me dig into my bicep tendon. So this kind of trigger point for bicep, it's gonna actually release my shoulder. It's a little bit different, but same concept. When you are pushing on these points, Chapman reflexes or Bennett, you can find things that say, oh, there's something there. That shouldn't be a 10. That shouldn't really hurt. But it does on this person. So, for example, if you guys cross your arms, I don't know if you can see me, and rub around your rib cages, if those are really, really sore on the lower parts, then it's actually sometimes a sign of large intestine upset. So if I'm constipated, I just kind of like move my fingers on there and it helps things move along. Or if someone's tender all over the ribs, then that's actually a thyroid issue. So this is all things that NTA has taught me. And it's so cool because then you can say, all right, if I know these points for these people and I see all the different reactions for all the different people, then I can work on some sort of online business that will help address where I know I'm gonna get success with these clients. I'm not just guessing. And that's really how to build a successful practice, is to know what you're talking about, and so that there's results. Because just like a weight training program or a strength training program, referrals come from when that person sees results. And so when you look at the business side, that's kind of my biggest tip for somebody that wants to be online or wants to be more online or wants more exposure, is first and foremost, understand the complexity, and the more you learn, the less you know. So I take Apex energetic seminars. Of course, I go to the NTA conference every year. God, I try to jump into everything I can. I take a ton of online free seminars, especially with herbalism. That's always really great. Chelsea, the Chapman reflexes, if you just Google it, but that's a big component of the work you do as a nutritional therapy practitioner. My favorite, and what I'm going to talk about with the adrenals and the Body Awareness Project Part 2, is Chapman reflexes for adrenals and how stimulating they are. They almost make people puke sometimes, but then how you can use that to start activating glutes before a workout. And I'm obsessed with that. It's so cool. If you're going to power clean, you better believe that my glutes are activated, because if they're not, where's your power coming from, right? So it's just super cool. If you guys have more questions, please ask. I'm just going to ramble. They wanted me to ask, I'm not going to be able to think of them on the top of my head, Emily. I'm a part of the Guild Society through my herbalism school. I would just Google the shit out of it and see if you can find some stuff. Any projects that I'm working on, so obviously the Body Awareness Project. This is my office. It's really not an office, it's a hallway. Just so you guys know, there's a hallway. But this is where I film everything. And I am opening a gym. So I'm so excited to be able to have a place for people to come and to collaborate with NTA workshops. Dr. Rachel and I want to start kind of doing some business coaching and kind of continuing education there. And then also just to get you really strong, especially if you have adrenal issues. As a former CrossFitter who overdid it, it's really, really hard to find the balance between, okay, I know I have adrenal issues, but I still want to work out. If you work out on adrenal issues, you are going to just see weight gain and muscle atrophy. That's what happened to me. I was like, where are all my gains going? Like my muscles, I flexed, and I was like, oh my God, I have no biceps. What is happening? But if we're overstressed and we have too much cortisol is catabolic. It breaks things down. So I'm just so excited to break this down for you guys because it's my favorite thing to talk about. Jana Kernick, had you looked into or considered other programs before deciding on NTA? Yeah, I've done 1,000 programs and they all are pretty shitty because all they care about is macros, and I don't believe that macros are the solution. I believe that hormones and figuring out how your body is responding to certain foods is the solution. And so you could get the macros perfect, and there's a million certifications that'll show you how to make the macros perfect, but nothing has really addressed the adrenal and gut paradigm that so many people have, like NTA. I know there's an NTI that I looked into that's here in Denver, but it just did not work with my schedule. I worked full-time. I mean, if you guys have followed me, you guys know I work minimum 70 hours a week. And that's just what I love to do. So I'm not complaining, but if I'm going to add school on top of that, it better be accessible. So, I'm lucky because I am able to assimilate information very quickly. So I was able to listen to audios while I was driving, and I was able to jump into the calls while, in between things. So I was able to make it work with that busy schedule. So I'm not saying if you work 70 hours a week, this is the best program, and it's effortless. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of dedication. But I would say 4 to 5 hours a week minimum. But if it is something that you want to not put anything on the back burner for, then it's a great program because it's all online, and then you can mark off 3 weekends to go in person. So again, master's programs in nutrition school and college. I have yet to find one that would teach you the things I learned as a nutritional therapy practitioner. Unfortunately, they will teach you kind of old dogmas, and they haven't upgraded their nutrition books quite yet. What's up, Stephen Livings? Okay. Personal benefit. So Julie, if you're not looking at consulting, or if you're not looking at working one-on-one, then definitely check out their foundational course. Their foundational course is perfect because it will teach you, I got to do the sports performance component, which is of course my favorite. And it's comprehensive, and it gets you really dialed in, but it's not going to be overwhelming and not going to be that huge commitment that you are talking about. So I would highly suggest looking at their newest course that they came out with. Okay, is there any other questions? If you guys have any questions on the programs, they made sure I know this email. So nta@nutritionaltherapy.com. If you have questions on their programs, if you have questions on my programs, please. I'm so active on email and social, and I do better with DMs. Kind of intimidate me, so just comment on pictures. Emily Schromm and emilyschromm.com. The email is support@emilyschromm.com. If you guys have ideas of how, it is something I really care about, is figuring out what would be helpful, because there are so many business questions. What would be helpful to make a successful program for you guys so that you feel like you have the tools you need and not just be another kind of like inspo woohoo. I don't know if you just saw my post. I just posted on Instagram. It said, being an entrepreneur is French for has ideas and does them. So, I do want so badly to help you guys. And if you have specific ways, email them in. I'd love to. Christina, do you find people second guess your abilities as an ATP? No, not at all. I'm really good. I'm really good at what I do because I get to the root of people's problems. And when you get to the root of people's problems, they feel that and they know that. And like I said earlier, there's nothing like doing a one-on-one consult with all the testing and spending 90 minutes with somebody and then having them leave feeling like, oh my God, for the first time in my life, I have an answer to my problems. There's no better feeling than that, and you will know as a practitioner when you get to the root of an issue. And I won't work with somebody until I get to the root of the issue. That's what you have to do as a practitioner, is know enough to be able to find the root cause. And then if you find that, nobody's going to second guess you because you just answered so many other issues. It could be as simple as digestion. It could be as simple as stress reduction, but it doesn't have to be complex. But when you know your stuff and you really have pure feeling, like you just want to help somebody, they don't question you. Tips for referrals for people who don't have the same training background as you. Have you connected with other professionals to trade referrals? This goes for personal training or for nutritional therapy, is that you have, it's really good to always have a knowledge of what you offer. So you're not just too broad. Like when somebody thinks of gut health or adrenal health, they think of me. And I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying, say that you you really love adrenal health, so that if you talk about it with your people that are coworkers or people that are at gyms, so when that happens, when they're like, oh, I really think I have adrenal issues, you're kind of the first thing that comes to mind. So that could mean that you list out your services and you make flyers and drop them off at certain gyms or at chiropractic offices or whatever it is. You just are very clear what your services offer or who you are. You're not just a general practitioner. They know exactly what they're going to get when they come to you. Or if you're trying to sell yourself, you have a list in your head of exactly what it is that they're going to walk away from after they see you. And so same for personal training. People know that I love Olympic lifting. Like if somebody wants to be a snatcher, they know Emily's going to teach them how to snatch. And so it's just get really good at a couple things. And so then when people start saying, that's what I need help with, they know to refer to you. I hope that helps. But I didn't get referrals from the personal training background. I just was lucky to practice on those people. So practicing like crazy will turn into referrals because they'll be like, oh, what did you just do? Oh, what is that? And then it can leak out into the world that way. What percentage of my business is online? 98% until September 7th, where 50%, because my gym will be open in September. Don't September 7th might change. It probably will. So we'll say September. But my goal 3 years ago, my goal was to be completely online, and I was able to do that. So 98% of my business is online, but that does not mean that, like, my favorite things that happen are face-to-face. So I do a lot of meetings with my team in person. I do a lot of expos in person. So maybe it's more than 2%. But for the majority, like as far as my services, 98% are online. Brandy says, I've already had a gym. I know I have a private only gym and moving to mostly online. Yeah, I did it opposite than most. You know, I didn't want to be in person, but now I have so many things. So I have emilyschromm.com 21-day MFit challenges and strength programs, 6-week strength programs that I am obsessed with because they've just changed my life. It was the first thing outside of CrossFit that I connected with. I love it. Then I have my Element Tea company, and then I have Evolve Motion, so my EmPack, which is my strength training backpack, theempack.com. I have the Body Awareness Project, and now I have Platform Strength. So I did it opposite, but I felt like I had so many things I was juggling that I needed a home base, and I'm really excited to make it happen. I'm trying to scroll if I missed anybody. Thank you guys for coming on. Again, I know there's a lot of people requesting business things, so if you have suggestions of like what would help, that would be helpful for me as a practitioner to kind of, outside of what I said, what would be helpful, what would be some tools and guides. I know NTA is really good at continuing education for practitioners. I'm a part of their summit in September in Austin about making up actual product. So the EmPack, the backpack I created, was the first actual product that I ever had made outside of t-shirts. And so kind of the process of that, if you guys are interested in creating something, what that looks like. It was a wild ride, and it still is today, but it was something that I'm obsessed with, because since most of your business is online, or if most of your business is online, you're constantly trying to sell yourself, like what, nutrition programs, try my program, this. And I just was exhausted by it. Like, I don't want to sell myself. I just want to be able to do what I love to do, which is help people and heal people from the inside out. And so to have my first product, to be removed from it and just have somebody hold something and train with it and work out with it and then see all the things that can come with it, that was really incredible for me. And it made me very addicted to making products. So that's why the tea company kind of came soon after that. The backpack, so the EmPack I invented because I was traveling and I didn't have a way to work out. And so it's a backpack that works just like a backpack. But if you don't have a gym, you don't have time for a gym, or if you're traveling, you can quickly convert it into a weight training pack. And I have programs and workouts, in like quite literally hundreds of workouts that you can do with the EmPack, so that you can work out 20 to 30 minutes or less and get incredible results from it. Because I do think strength training is the biggest piece of not only seeing results, but also empowering yourself. If you haven't lifted something heavy overhead, you need to do it. It's pretty incredible what it does for your mind. And everyone should know that everything starts right here. How you think about yourself, what you say in the mirror when you see yourself, and honestly, just how you feel. So I'm a big believer in feeling good by moving weight. And when I have my shittiest days is when I go snatch and I do something really hard and I come out stronger on the other side, and I'm like, oh yeah, I am badass. I can do this. I got this. I'm cool. I'm a huge fan of strength training, not just for that, the benefit of what it does for your body, but for what it does for your mind. Yay! I love my EmPack. Yay, Melissa. Aisha, so strength training challenges include nutrition. So the strength training program I just released is 3 days a week, and the nutrition programs, the meal plans, I only do through the 21-day program, because I'm never going to give someone a meal plan. I want them to understand how the body works. So it's $21 for 21 videos, resources, snack guides, sugar curbers, and a full 21-day meal plan. So that's my meal plan that I have for everybody, and they're pretty delicious. I have 2 different meal plans for version 1 and version 2, and Emma and Hannah, they did incredible. So I'm so glad you like your EmPack. I love my EmPack too. We just launched our second Kickstarter, so this spring. So I launched the first one on Kickstarter, if you guys know Kickstarter, and it was funded on day